Hey, Bert.
I'm emailing. I'm
You're
working.
emailing. That's no way to spend a Friday.
Does it sometimes feel like you email for a living? Is that
Yeah.
even a thing?
You know, I was bouncing between email and because we started late today. I was bouncing between email and Teams. By the way, we're not on Twitch right now because we're overlapping another show. So that's fine. That's fine. We're on YouTube.
Won't be as good as this one.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't want to send anyone away, but Dawn's doing her Python.
Don't leave. Don't leave. Stay here.
Yeah. So let me see. Teams is cool, but then I like scroll through all my old Teams messages, and there's like no way to flag stuff really or follow up. It's just blah, you know. Like at least with email, I can like, you know.
Yeah. Well, you can mark it as in Teams. You can mark it as unread. You can pen it.
Yeah.
Can you flag it?
Maybe.
I don't think you can. So for email? What do you do? Like
try and manage
organize. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you know, I do my best. I do flag stuff. But I'm not one of these like super like, you know, mark everything off kind of person people. I don't know. I do my best. Yeah.
What's up, Waleed? What's going on? Hey, Eduardo. What's up from Argentina? How's it going?
Folks around the world. Where are you at in Argentina? I've been to Buenos Aires. I loved it. I had an amazing time.
It's far. Isn't it like did we talk about this like an 8-hour plane ride or something like that?
It's a long way.
And is it cold? Because isn't it near the South Pole?
Not that. It was warm when I was there. I don't know.
Isn't it like the farthest south you can go?
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, it's southish, but it's not crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go too.
Yeah. So, okay, before we do the Twitter off thing, which I think hopefully we can cross off, but I did do a PR to your dark mode PR.
Oh, we should check that out then.
There's a small thing that was bugging me. I can share my screen. I can try and let me try and
there was a couple of things that were kind of off there still, weren't there? Like it's more than one thing.
I don't know. I have lower standards than you. Okay, let's go entire screen. This guy over here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here's my. I love that you can do this, by the way. I mean, there's ups and downs with all the static web apps and everything, but this. Oh, do I have a? Oh gosh, no, I still have to run it locally, but I'll show you what I did. Okay, let's just try and run it. Well, when we run your PR first, let's do yours. I'll show you the thing that was bugging me, which is the logo is dark.
So yeah.
List,
yeah, the text.
Yeah. So, and then I was also like, I want to come up with like the standard way that we'll do some of this. I don't totally love it. I spent some time reading about nested CSS classes. Are you up to date on those? There's like a whole thing.
Is it like Sass where you can?
It is CSS nested. So they basically copied that, which is good. And like, I was looking at this Stack Overflow thing here. So the idea is, no, this isn't the one. That's not the one I was looking at. Well, this works. No, this CSS. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but there's an and sign, an ampersand, and then there's an at nest. It's complicated, and it wasn't working for me, and I don't know. So I got it to work, but so like here, at nest and ampersand. Let's just see if it pops up. I was actually reading the spec.
Why did you need nested CSS classes?
Well, show you why. That's a great question. Because this, we end up doing repetitive stuff here. I created a,
Oh,
right. So then we got to do all these like multiple things. And what I want to do is inside the dark theme, just have an also do this for the logo image. And it should work, but I like messed with it and Visual Studio like doesn't seem to know about it yet. Let me try one more time and see if this, I think, is it in here? There's a nesting at rules. There's a whole complicated thing where you can do like this at media, and you can do at nest, and you can do like stuff. I don't know. It blew my mind. So I'm not doing that right now, but I did want to at least fix this logo. Question here: would you recommend Mudblazer? Okay, I'm not an expert in Mudblazer. I've seen a lot of good things with Mudblazer. It solves a lot of problems. Have you seen there's like a lot of frameworks built on top of Blazor? So Mud. There's some other. I guess the main question I would do is I would compare it with some of the other frameworks. So there's like Blazor Eyes and some other things. Mudblazer is one of these like got a bunch of components, a lot of things included, mobile friendly, a lot of neat stuff. The one thing to balance with a lot of these is they can be a little bit heavier because they're not like a trimmed down little thing. They have like, you know what I mean? They've got like a lot of different components and stuff. So that is something to like check out. There's that. There's so I don't know, but I've heard a lot of good things about Mudblazer. So okay, so let me go back.
I think in general, yummy, yum yum, it's yum yum, yum yum rocks, yum yum rocks. I think in general, John, the way that I think about this, I've always had this opinion, even though, and I used to work for Kendo UI, which is it was a JavaScript, it was a framework, component framework for jQuery, is that it is best, I should write this in a blog post, but you can't always do this, but it is best to use just CSS components if you can to build your UI. It's not always the case that you can. This is my personal opinion. I don't speak on behalf of anybody, but that if when offered a component framework, if I can do the same thing with a CSS framework like Bulma, I'm going to do that 10 out of 10 times. There are some scenarios where you can't because you need like a spreadsheet component, or you need like or a data grid, right? That's a popular one, in which case, or a calendar, right? Then, or a markdown editor, like you need a component then. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess for the same reason that you said, right, John? Because it can be heavy, and I feel like CSS can do like most of what you need.
So I think it comes down to a trade-off, like everything in software development, right? It's a trade-off. I do think that if you've got the time and the like CSS skill and it honestly, it does take development time. Like if you say, John, you've got one day to build a dashboard and it's got to look pretty and all matching styles and all that. I mean, and you know, like another thing is for a lot of these things, if you're building for like a line of business app or something where somebody's going to work inside this thing all day long, and they don't mind if it takes 5 seconds to load because that's their app they're going to use all day or something like that. It's a trade-off. I don't know. And one other nice thing is if you've got a large dev team and you standardize on something and you say, we completely use Fast, or we just use Radzin, or whatever, Blazor Strap. We use
right.
Then you don't have people like, you know, having to reinvent how everything looks, you know, and like, well, why is this not aligned right or whatever? You know what I mean? So it depends on the business trade-off.
Yeah. I mean, so a good example of this is probably GitHub has a framework called, what's it called? I want to say it's called Prism comes to mind.
Hmm.
Maybe that's not it. But anyway, so when we were like GitHub site uses this framework, and it's a CSS framework. What's the name of it?
Newer than Bootstrap?
It's not Bootstrap. It's their own thing that they have.
that's right.
Like if you build an interface, they have these components that they've created, and you just use the components. And the component actually does render the HTML just with the proper CSS classes,
Right.
so that you don't, add a class or add padding or margin that shouldn't be there. And but it wraps everything, right? Like it wraps a button.
Yeah.
So a button
I know.
turns into this much. But I get what you're saying. It's a sort of a standardization thing, and it is powerful. Once you get used to it, you're like, dang, man.
Another one that's pretty neat is this this fast framework thing. I forget if we've looked at this before, but this fast design. And there's the fast UI for Blazor that's like, again, so what they do, they really go in with the web components. It's implemented for Blazor. They actually, this team, Vincent, Dennis, they wrapped, remember we did that Blazor sortable thing? They're the folks that ship that as part of their thing. So,
but then it has to look like this, right? I mean, this is like material design, right? It has a
standard
specific look and feel.
Yep. So then you decide, like a trade-off. Do you want to like have the problems all solved for you? Now there are different themes for it and stuff like that, but do you say like so I don't know. I'm not a there's different I don't know what I'm doing here, but here. Nah, I don't know there are different themes and stuff, but it's true. You pick one and you go with it. As Jay mentioned, it's called Fluent UI Blazor. And then here there's also Quick Grid. If you just want a grid, there's actually one shipped with Blazor now.
The data grid?
Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome. Quick Grid. Quick Grid, here it is. And Steve Sanderson worked on this, and it's like ridiculously optimized and stuff. It does stuff like virtualization and filtering. The virtualization is pretty slick. It loads on demand. So here it's loading 20-some thousand records.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So, but I think it goes back to like the two of us like hacking CSS. Like, honestly, I enjoy when somebody's got a CSS problem and they're like, why isn't this working? I'm like, oh, let me take a look at that.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's the best part. CSS is the best. This is a controversial statement. CSS is the best part of building interfaces because you could do anything.
But we're outliers there. Like, a lot of devs don't love it. And it's that's funny. No, yum, that's awesome.
No, don't worry about it. So here, I'm going to make another controversial statement. Second one. I think after working with data grids for many years, that most of the time you don't need a data grid. And I only say that because here's why. I have implemented so many of them with this sort of like inline editing experience where you click on the row and you can edit it and you can update it, right? And it gets really hard because you're trying to contain all this state logic in different rows. And I even worked at a place where we spent 6 months. This was in Adobe Flex, trying to make a grid. That's all we did. There are other ways to lay out your UI that but not use a grid.
Yeah.
So for instance, instead of having an editable grid, just click on the item and put up a modal with the fields in it, and I understand there are instances though where people are doing a lot of keyboarding and they're trying to move through grids real fast. I get it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I feel like the grid was overused in the early aughts.
There's a trade-off with custom design and implementing like a beautiful design and all that versus let's just do a grid. We don't really care. You know what I mean? Here, this is scrolling through a bunch of medical data and it's we could go through and wireframe it and design it and spend some time. We've spent some time for a lot of different reasons, but we've spent some time on this URL tracking system, right? And there are crappy ways of just throwing it together, depending on the solution. Like, I mean, if I'm tracking, I mean, you should see some of the internal stuff we do for tracking, like blog posts, or whatever. It's like, it works,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But I do, it does blow my mind when I talk to other devs and they hate CSS. And I'm like, but it's so beautiful, Oh,
Yeah.
one other thing. You mentioned modals. And did you see there's a new popover that's in CSS? Popover.
Like a native popover?
Native popover. There's this popover target thing. It's crazy. I saw somebody share a I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off.
Oh, and you can style it.
It's stylable and everything. So you have a target, you have and it's somewhere way down here. Popover. You can basically like hook two things together, and you can say, when I click on this button, then show this popover. You can style it, and then you can also popover. Let's see about this. Popover target, popover. I don't know if there's going to be a thing to let me try it out. It's like basically a built-in modal now.
I bet by default it's hideous.
It is. It is completely hideous. Yes. Okay. I got
stuff in browsers is just awful.
It's absolutely awful, right?
It's as if they're just like goading you, like fix.
They're like, do not use the default.
Right. Yeah. Do not use this.
Okay, let's go way back to this. I can't solve everything, but I can solve this one little problem. So I played with a few different things. I was like, okay, this is technically you can style SVG with CSS. However, it's an image and you can't do it directly there. You can do an inline SVG and then you can style it with CSS. What I ended up doing is I just created another SVG and I just edited it, and I just grabbed the same. This is funny, by the way. I can just show it like it's just basically the same thing, but a lighter thing where it says
with a lighter text.
And then I threw in this CSS where I say, okay, if it's dark, then do that. I was able to nest this one, but I wasn't able to nest this one for some reason. And then I just set that. And then there were two places where I had to hook it up. There's one which is on the loading screen. So I override it there.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's also the one in the header. Same sort of deal. Oh, and the one sort of neat thing is I was able to just override the image using content URL. So that's kind of neat, I think.
Oh, that is. Yeah, you're just setting the
source, and content allows overriding the source. So now that allows the default to stay the same.
That's a neat trick.
Yeah. So and it's supported everywhere and all that. So I'll run it real quick, and then we're basically delaying the difficult problem we have, which is Twitter auth migration. But
you want to talk about it? I have to even find what's going on anymore.
Okay, so look, we're in dark mode. It's going to be so beautiful. So now, see, it's just a little bit lighter gray.
Ooh. And then, it's perfect.
I just matched the colors there, but we could it could do, and it's if we decide later, like, oh, this gray is wrong, it's not hard to update the SVG too. So
add a link.
A link?
Yeah, just add like a link down here in your thing. And
right.
I guess you can't because you don't have it all fired up.
Xbox.com. Were you checking to see if this guy of the logo still works, or?
No, see, this is what we need to fix. It's that white box right there.
Oh gosh.
We need to fix that. That's one of the things we need to fix.
Should we merge my PR into your PR?
The other thing is, like, the background is not going all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
So yeah, we can merge yours into mine, but this needs a little bit more work. Maybe we should just like continue to work on this.
Okay, let's work on it some, but I really do think we should make some, because we've been kind of kicking the auth thing for a while. If we can make some progress on it, that would be nice.
All
Because
right.
we know at this point we have to do it, right? We have to migrate. I guess we can talk.
We do. I have to find and see what code I've got here that we can even work with.
Okay. So I'm merging my pull request. Very exciting. Okay, people watching live, do you like hacking CSS? I'm curious, anybody like actually have fun with CSS? You know, it's also gotten a lot easier for me with dev tools. Like dev tools have gotten really good, browser dev tools, and they didn't used to be. You know, like you can inspect anything. You can. It's like. Okay, while you're doing that, then should we pop? Let me see if I can find this. Can I? Or, where was it at? It was at, what's the name of that place where you do a code pen? There it is. It's this one. I think this is it. With the popover. No, it's not. Rats. Oh well. I'm a fan of CodePen too. A CodePen's nice for.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
CSS hacking. All right. Do you want to? You're better at CSS than me. Do you want me to work on those things you were talking about while you do the figure out the Twitter migration code, or?
So I think there's two different ways we can do this today. We could either finish the dark mode stuff and then have a little bit of time to work on the other, or we could say we'll do the dark mode stuff in the background because it's like details, right? Like you get the idea.
Honestly, it's details. This is our big blocker. Like this is our last big task we got to do.
Okay. And then we can do, so let me just like get set up over here, and I can go ahead and share my screen. I just need to close out of all these
4,000 emails.
Yeah, these programs that are gonna put me on blast. Slack, Teams. Well, yes, we have both.
The snooze, the do not disturb is so nice.
And I'm gonna do, yeah, I should do that too. Do not disturb.
I did the for my pull request, I let GitHub write the pull request message, and it like links all the files and everything.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat, and it links, I think, to the line numbers and stuff.
It's dope.
It's
somebody. I was talking to somebody, and I had said that I have this problem with. I'm going to say a problem. I have like a hang up with this idea of prompt engineering. I don't like the term. And I've basically said before that like this isn't a thing, it doesn't exist. And people will point out, well, like it is a thing. And it does exist.
Yeah.
And they're right in the sense that there are tricks that you can use to get a prompt to get better results from the model. But the hang up that I always have is that in the current implement, so Steven Pinker said it, he said that it's unfortunate that the first large scale implementation of these large language models is a first person chatbot because it's gimmicky.
It is. You know, I think some of it comes from the history, right? Because there was this whole bot thing 5 years ago or whatever. And everyone was throwing bots at us that didn't actually do anything useful. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All the chatbots. And now
it's never materialized, right? And we even had like, there was, I don't know what the state of it is in Azure, but there was a framework for it.
Yeah, bot framework.
This idea that we're going to put a chat inside of your editor, and then like if it doesn't give you the right answer, that's your fault. To me, is not great. And so the second part of that statement from Pinker though is that the real promise of AI is in task-oriented behavior, not first-person chat. What's a task-oriented behavior? Writing a commit message for you. Now, behind the scenes, there is a prompt that goes into that. And actually, that prompt contains your last 10 commit messages and the last 10 commit messages from the repo that you're working in, because we already have that. Plus, all of the shenanigans that we've already figured out, we have to pass to the model so that it won't come back and just be like, as an AI, I don't know anything about commit messages, because it just does that. And so, like, there is prompt engineering, but the prompt engineering is more like, we need tools as developers that help us write these prompts so that we can build tools so that other people don't have to write prompts.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody should ever write a prompt ever again, like as a consumer.
I agree. Chat is a weird interface for working with a computer. It's like, and then it also, it causes you to pretend like it's a person when it's not. And it's like, okay, this reminds me of two things I got to share. So one is, have you seen this Miyagi thing? So this is an AI demo I saw demonstrated. This is by the GBB, which is Global Black Belts, I guess. And
yeah. Okay.
So what's neat with this is AI based, and it's doing like portfolio recommendations. So OpenAI also, like, we're totally used to the prompt chat thing, but you can actually say, like, here is some data, return a response in JSON format. Like, there's still that sort of prompt level to it, but it's basically working as an API at that point. So this whole thing is like based on these like investments. Obviously, you don't get your investments from a computer, but you can like set goals. You can chat with it and say, like, here, tell me the best stocks to buy and stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
So it's, I mean, yeah, that's all kinds of things fraught with peril, but like the basic idea of data manipulation as opposed to just text is pretty neat. I got one other crazy link to share. I don't know, I'm like all the stuff today. Okay. This is ridiculously nerdy level, but Stephen Taub on our team is like super brainiac and is like figuring out a lot of
One Drown. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen this?
Yes, we've been watching this, trying to understand Transformers.
Okay, so I watched through this like all last weekend, and it's like math. It's a lot of math, but it's super cool. It's so like, at least it's not like, hey, some magic stuff happens and we give you an answer. It's actually like, here's what we're doing. And there's some like kind of advanced math as you get farther on, but it's like pretty neat.
So I watched the one on Transformers. Izzy sent it to me, and I watched it and I was like, what? I need to watch it again.
Yeah. Okay, but what was so cool was actually, like, I've seen the neural network stuff before. I understand at a conceptual level the basics of like simulated neurons talking to each other, and you weight the balances and you like reward things and you train it. But the whole like attention level and what transformers do, that the way they like figure out context. And if you talk about like, if you have Harry, but then you also like talk about like kings and queens and stuff, it's probably, royalty. But if you say something about like Quidditch, then it's, you know what I mean? The whole context of word and stuff. That's like the crazy stuff going on in these ones. I don't know. Anyways, I thought this was pretty slick.
This is really cool. I agree. I just feel like I'm just a web developer, man. Like this stuff is like, this is the progression of the intelligence of the human race, of which I am not a part. Like, I don't know who these people are, but it isn't me.
I long ago, I studied physics. I did like quantum physics stuff, and then I did nuclear power for like in the Navy. But then I'll watch this stuff and I'll go like, those brain cells are long gone. Like any of that math stuff, it's like, I used to know what these things could do, and it's like, nope.
It's so tough. All right. We can keep going.
Let's go with some easy problems now. Let's migrate auth.
Well, yeah, because that's going to be. I got to pull something down.
Okay. Oh, you got to click that hide thing before I like freak out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is a nice theme you got, by the way.
This is Cobalt 2 from West Boss.
Oh, all right. I got to get that one. Cobalt 2.
Actually, it's installed because he opened a ticket on the VS Code repo earlier this week and it tagged me because the squigglies are showing up inside of like words in his theme.
Okay.
And people were tagging him on his repo. And so he opened an issue and we fixed it. But I installed the theme to test it. And I was like, man, it does look so good. I'm going to leave it.
It's pretty sweet. I'm going to get that.
Okay, so here's what I've done. Here's what I went and did.
Okay.
And we have to figure out where we are with this. But essentially, oh my gosh. Do you see how the squiggly is like inside the word kind of? Do you see that?
We just barely.
I think I just need to npm install here. Sure. What? What's wrong? No, it's fine.
You got Z shell running on. Oh, you're on WSL?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I come from Mac, so I'm more comfortable here.
All right.
Where do we start here?
Well, let's
walk through the problem.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
walk through the problem. So let's go to, I guess we'll go to our site.
Wow, there's a Cobalt 3 now. There's a lot of Cobalts. Well, there's a Cobalt 2, but then I looked up and somebody has adapted Cobalt 3. I don't think it's official. I'm getting Cobalt 2.
Alex, what is this?
Yeah. But you can't have Cobalt 3 with the logo saying Cobalt 2. That's just...
yeah, you got to at least change the number.
Like scribble it out,
Alex, I respect the hustle. All right.
I'm bringing Cobalt 4 later today.
Right. With the 2? You're going to leave the 2 on?
Yeah.
That probably is a good theme. We should install and try it out. Okay. Let's see here. Well, okay, let's talk about the problem. What's the problem? Why? What is the deal here? So the issue is that we can't use Twitter login anymore. Why can't we use Twitter login anymore? Because static web apps doesn't support Twitter auth, and they're not going to. We've talked to them, and so Twitter has been through a bunch of changes. You may or may not have heard, and during that time, some things broke in their API, like people using the API. Static web apps, the way that it works is that they essentially register one app, static web apps, and then you just auth through their app, right?
I always wondered about that because you don't have to create, like, most of the time you're setting up auth with Twitter or any of these things, you have to actually go and create an app. And with Easy Auth, it's like, nope. So that was the magic that was happening. Right.
And it actually tells you, I mean, if we do this here, it does it just fine. But it tells you right here. It's like,
sorry. Right? So we were in denial all this time, basically. We're like, well, we can kind of make it work. Now, it still works in Azure Functions.
It does.
And maybe that's just kind of like, eventually, I mean, that's a little bit scary. If it's not working in static web apps, is it always going to work in functions? We don't know.
Well, I think so, because, when we talked to the PMs, they were like, look, it was broken. We had no tickets, and basically nobody's using Twitter auth in static web apps.
Yeah.
Which is hard to believe, but it also just kind of goes to show that it's not going to be, it's not a priority.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
and then we did that hack, which was, I was all excited about, which was apparently a bad idea, was we're going to run functions and static web apps side by side. But that was also a problem because you can't share the auth because they have different domains and cores and all that stuff.
Exactly. So basically we have to get everybody, Twitter auth just has to go away. or static web apps has to go away. And between the two of those, I'm saying goodbye to Twitter.
Especially because with okay, so one downside or one thing we started to get excited about with functions was at least we could get more auth information, and with Twitter, with static web apps, we're back to the simple easy auth, right? We don't get the avatar, we don't get like some other stuff, but it's fine.
So as you mentioned with functions does still support auth with Twitter. So the gist of this is, like, if we were going to walk through the flow here, it's that someone comes to static web to the URL list and they try to log in with Twitter. And in fact, I think we have a branch for this. Like, we can actually open and see where we are with this.
I guess we can roll back our side-by-side functions and static web app code too, because it's not.
No, I mean, it never went
in.
Never
was committed.
Yeah, so we're good.
Okay.
If we look here at, let's get to the right branch. What?
Let us know in chat if this isn't making sense. This is basically, you're coming in at episode 12. This is getting close to the season finale.
Discard all of this. There's a branch for this, and it's called, it's not functions auth, it's custom auth, I believe. Custom auth. Is this it? We shall see. Let's go to the client. Let's watch.
So this is this is in the app.
This is in the app. And so what we're trying to do is, like, I don't want to build this as part of the app. So let's take a look here. So what I've done is I've gone in and removed Twitter, but then for people who have logged in before, not that we have a ton of them, but there are some, there's this, where's this Twitter login? And it just says we've had to remove Twitter login, right? I'm just explaining. But then don't worry, you can still import any lists. So the way that I thought about this was that we'll just tell people they can't log in with Twitter. And then when they go to my lists, we'll have a button in there that's like, import your lists from Twitter. Now, what happens when someone does that? When they click that button, we then call over to a different application, right, that we need to write. And when we call that application, we give that application their whatever provider they've logged in with.
Okay.
Here, Facebook, GitHub, Google, because we have that. We have the provider name and we have their username. And we just send that over as part of the query string to this new app, because that's not sensitive information. This new app then takes in their new identity provider and username and says, okay, cool, you're going to import from Twitter to this new account. And then it gives them a button. And when they click that button, it authorizes them through the Twitter process. And then it returns them back to the app. And the app now has everything that it needs to make this change. It knows their new username, because we passed that. It knows the new provider, and it knows their Twitter username.
Is it something where I could pass in, could I import your lists if I just type in your username, or is there some sort of?
You could, no, but you could have it import to, you can't import someone else's list, but you could send your own lists somewhere else, right? There's nothing stopping me from, you modifying the variable, then logging into Twitter and then assigning all your lists to someone else. But you did that. They're your lists.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think there's a security problem here, because on the function side, we read in this new information. And the old information, we're just reading on the server, right? We're pulling it from the client principal. It's not viewable.
Okay.
And we take that, and we have the hasher, right? We know what the key and salt are, and we hash that username. We check the database, and we say, hey, is there a match here, right, for this username? Yes, there is. And there's no provider. Then we know it's Twitter. And then we just update the database with the new provider information, and then we send them back to the URL list, which will then display their stuff because they've just imported it all.
Okay, so are we copying over the old database into the new database, and then they're basically like orphaned lists, and in order to get to them, I guess we need to, because that keeps all the old lists up, right? If I've created an old URL list and I've shared that link out, I need that list to still work.
Right, exactly. When we actually go live, we have to take the database as it is,
right,
and port the whole thing over.
But for a while, those are not owned. They're not going to show up in anyone's account. And this is a way of saying, hey, associate those old lists with my account.
That's exactly right.
GitHub or whatever.
That's right.
Okay.
So the way that I've handled this is I'm doing this from an Azure function, and
we can do that because Twitter auth still works with Azure functions.
Right, exactly. And so in our so let's just run this and see where it's even at. I think this will work. I probably need to npm it. No, I don't. All right, let's see. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. So we have our function. I did this with TypeScript. What is it saying here? Functions work a runtime setting. No job functions found. So it didn't find. Do we have to pass in? So it's not finding.
Do you have to tag the functions, or is it in your? I have not ever
Function worker runtime. There's no settings file. That's what's happening. 1 sec. I'm gonna move it over. Local settings.json.
Okay.
How am I gonna get it in? Let's see. All right, 1 second. Let's do this. Let's go to Azure.
Put it on a zip drive.
Yeah, exactly. Let's create a new function app to do this because we don't have one. So let's create a function app. We're gonna call it. Let's do advanced. I want more control. Let's call it URL list migration.
Okay.
Twitter migration. All right.
Yeah. I like how we always are going to call it Twitter. That's
runtime stack, Node 18. Sure. Linux.
Is there a big difference? I guess. Yeah, okay. I don't even know. There's Twitter 18, or I mean, there's Node 18, then there's also Node 20.
Yeah, I think if 18 is LTS, that's what we'll use.
Okay.
Skip for now. So I'm just creating the function app in Azure, and then I've got it over here, and I'm going to deploy it so that I can pull down the local settings.
Slick.
And that will help us out here so we can run it locally. And then we'll get into what this thing needs to do because it's not easy.
Chat's pretty quiet today.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing glamorous and fun about this at all.
But you know what? This is like data migration in order to go live. This is exciting to me.
That dude's gonna do.
Because I am so psyched. Okay, so we've built some features that I cannot wait to use, like the browser storage thing is a big one for me. And once it's live, I really do want to keep working on the browser extension. I would love to, and integrate even like send this workspace to share it with URL list, or I don't know, like all kinds of stuff.
Yes, it will open up. We'll be able to do all kinds of cool stuff. Let's see here. Select subscriptions. That's the one that I want. You're the one that I want.
Trying to see if I can find that popover. Really did want to share that. I was really excited about it. It's funny that's called popover too.
All right, can you take my screen down for just a second? Probably easier way to.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I don't even have. There's nothing to do here. Hold on. We got it.
All right.
It's encrypted. I feel like this is something Copilot could do. Where are you at, Copilot? False. Does it know it's thinking? Thinking. Whoa!
Well, yes, that's like when it wrote that commit message. That was absolutely insane.
It has keys.
All
right. Thank you. I'll use my own keys. Thank you very much.
Okay, people are asking again, what theme? This is Cobalt 2.
Functions work at runtime. Let's go. I think that should do it. I think I can. I can't. I can't deal. Why is it not finding? Let's see here. Is it because funk post start maybe? I don't know. Now I'm just grasping at straws. Yeah, I can't find it. Something's wrong. Hold on. What's this? Unable to load entry point dist source functions. Oh. Let's do watch. Okay. We're using TypeScript, so we actually need to build it. It doesn't. Right. There's nothing there. All right. So now we'll see if it'll run. Lies. There are functions. Look, there's one right there. There it is.
It's right there.
Let's see. Is it?
Is this with the no, this isn't the proxy. Oh.
I gotta see. I gotta figure out what's going on here. Why doesn't it doesn't find any
just pop up the thing with all the yeah. Do you have to run it with verbose to find out?
Worker was unable to load entry point. No such file or directory open. Templates. Oh, yeah.
Is there more to copy over?
No. So the thing is, like what I want to do here is use an Azure function to serve up some HTML, right? I need to give people an interface.
Oh, right.
I was trying to,
yeah.
So I want to have a template file.
Yeah.
I've got two of them, but the thing is, like, you can't do this in Azure Functions. You cannot do this. You can't serve templates. I've tried and tried and tried. So what we can do instead is we could just take the HTML.
And just inline it?
Just inline it. It's not ideal, but so then it's
how there's a question. So I think this question is saying, how did you put stuff on the right side?
Oh, I just toggled primary sidebar position.
Cool. Why not render it as a string? That's what you're doing, but you need a way to include the string, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to inline it here, and then we're going to fill in some of this information.
Yeah.
So, home template. Yeah. So that, are we still good over here? Air template. So we don't have the air, and then the air template would be. This is like not ideal, you know. Constant. Okay. And then for the air, here's our air template. There's probably a better way to do this, but let's just get it working and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, are we building now? No errors found. Okay, good. Does it find it now? Okay, now it finds it.
Yay.
So, yeah. Okay, there we go. So we got our error page, right? Because we didn't pass a Twitter client principal.
Yeah.
So let's look at the flow here. Let's look at the code. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the MS client principal header, right? And if it isn't there, we're just going to be like, you're not logged into. We never actually logged into Twitter.
Yeah. Should we say a different error that's like, this is, well, I don't know. So if I click through and I get a client principal is null, I'm going to start crying. Like, I don't know what to do. It's a normal person that's not, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think what we should do instead is maybe tell them, click below to log into Twitter and have your existing lists migrated, right? And then complete import. That's what this is supposed to look like. Right. So if that's the case, then we don't need to check. We're not checking for the client print. We don't actually care about that. What we do care about is whether or not this new user data object got passed in the header. So let's go back here. Does it automatically? New user data was null. So then let's add it. And we actually have to pass this as a JSON object.
Okay. Oh, that's always fun, passing JSON
and yes. And I'll tell you why. I don't even know if these are the right. If it's username or user details.
I worked with an API recently. It was WordPress. It was a WordPress API. I was like, had to pass some JSON. And I was like, oh, there's PHP somewhere in there, and I don't know what's happening.
New user data. It's there. Right? New user data equals. Let's make sure we're not airing out. Yeah. Okay, so let's just get this to work. New user data, identity provider, Twitter username.
Do we need to
request? Is it request a query or request a params?
It was query. Can you alert or console log? That didn't work for some reason. Oh.
I need to just restart it. Hold on. So where did we get that time? We didn't get anything.
Where does it set new user data JSON? Oh, right there.
Yeah, the line above.
What about console log request.params?
Yeah. Right there, nothing.
Okay.
Is it request.query?
You need to change the console log also, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
And I've written
New user data. Yeah.
Okay. It's the way that it's formatted. Maybe you need to like.
It's URL search params. Let's just ask Copilot here. So just
Yeah. Here we're back to the yeah. Prompt engineering.
Request.query.data as string. So this should work, right? Like, why doesn't?
Well, why not? Maybe try that and then request.query.data.
Yeah, because it's not an array. It's an object. Let's see. Import from URL.
Is URL search params a interface? I don't know what that is.
Node thing? I guess it is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a string.
Your console logs.
There we go.
Oh, what? Okay, so now you can get rid of the log.
Okay, so we're now reading this in, right?
Yeah,
so now it goes, assuming that we've passed this from the URL list, we've come here, we've got this, and it's like complete the import. So now what happens? So now what we need to do is we need to call essentially this button.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the button? We need to call auth, Twitter, login, and then we need to pass a post login redirect URL.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where this breaks down.
Wait, why?
Because you can't. We could try. So we're going to send it back to auth Twitter login.
We're up on the Twitch too, by the way. FYI. So, okay. What's not working? I missed that before. We don't have.
Well, when I'm trying to figure out, so what we're going to do is we're going to log in, and then after we log in, we're going to redirect back to a different function that we haven't created yet. That's going to have it's now going to have the Twitter, and it's going to do the rest of the thing, right? It's like we need this import function. So like, is there like a create function? There it is. HTTP trigger. We'll just call it import. So here's where we have to do the thing. So here we actually need the client principal stuff. We need this stuff. Because at this point, we're coming back from Twitter.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And now we need some sort of a template for this, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Maybe Copilot can write some of it.
Probably. Yeah. It's probably be better if, one second here. It would probably be better if I have half a thought about it. I can't do two things at once. All right. So we have the client principal. Now we need to get the data off of the query string.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just coming at these errors for just a second. So we have the client principal. And so we need this business here, right? Because we're passing this right along. So now we have the new user and we have the client principal at this point. Here, right here, we have client principal and new user data. So at this point, we now need to like do Cosmos DB stuff. So we need to
we need to import a Cosmos library. Yes.
Yeah. Really? Oh. And then we're going to import it. And then we're going to do stuff with it. How do we do this? Do we do, let's go here.
Yeah, we set a,
Yeah, but do we do a connection string or do we do an endpoint and a key? We do an endpoint and a key.
I'm going to take your screen down.
I know, I'm showing the stuff.
Here, I'm going to show, can I show mine? No, my computer's freaking out.
But the, none of this is all like auth stuff. None of this stuff actually works. People can copy all they want. So let's put this over here.
Okay. Oh, here, wait, my StreamYard is freaking out. Here, I'll add you back, I think.
All right, so now we have,
okay.
So database is called, and we're in the process of moving this over to my personal subscription, which is why none of these keys matter at the moment.
Oh. Right.
And I think I already did it. No, social assisting young investors. All right, so let's do it. Let's go to Azure. And do you remember what we partitioned this thing on?
I think we just did it on. Oh gosh, it's been a while. I think we did username. I'm not certain. It doesn't make it easy to look either. Like you can't check.
Where is my Cosmos database? I have one in my work subscription too, which is what this is. I have one database. Where is it? I had a database. There it is, BurkeDB.
Okay. So StreamYard's freaking out on me. I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay. See you in a moment. So it's the URL list. We have a database. So we call it the URL list. And then we have a collection called link bundles, and the settings partition key on vanity URL. Okay, easy enough. Then let's do that. Create a database. I don't know, chat, what the convention is here. I don't know if it's like capital. I don't know if it's camel case. We're going to do it like this, though, because that's how I've got everything else here in my personal subscription. And then an ID, link bundles, right?
Oh, I can
partition
look.
Key, vanity URL. Vanity URL. Vanity, is that? Okay, yeah, that's right.
You know what? Let me look at what we partition on. You can see what we partition on in the functions.
Enter 0 if the account doesn't support throughput.
What? I don't know
Your
what that
account is
means.
already configured with a total throughput limit of 1,000 RUs. All right, fine. You know what? I'm not afraid. I'll do this.
Just going. Okay. I'm going to look at what we're partitioning on.
Okay. It's vanity URL.
Okay.
I found it. It's definitely vanity URL. Okay. All resources? This is weird. Where's my resources, yo? Welcome to Azure. Where's my resources? You see me? The URL list. Is that who I am? Recents, favorite, view all resources. What? Are you seeing this?
Are you?
I have a subscription. Fine, you know
what?
Are
you in the right directory?
Oh, I might not be.
The subscription and directory thing throws me off.
Yeah.
Times.
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
I'm not going to remember this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. How do I change the directory?
You go
default directory. This is the one.
There you go. Switch.
Oh yeah, I created a different tenant.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Tell me that's the right one. Thank you. Jeez. All right, so let's go here. Let's do the database explorer, data explorer, and I need a new database. Oh, there already is one. I must because it did create it. I didn't finish the creation process, but it was like, no, don't worry. Well, all right. Well, new container. Use existing container ID, link bundles. Required. It's vanity URL. Okay. Cool. Auto scale. Container max.
What does RU stand for? Something unit?
Request units.
We're
going to set it at maybe 400. I think that's the. Oh no, 100 it is. I wish I could explain more what's happening here, but I don't understand. Enable, no.
It doesn't matter too much here because this is not going to be a high throughput service, probably. Is it? You know what I mean? Like,
no, it is not a high throughput. It's not high throughput at all. That totally failed.
Oh wait, this is the new database though for the. Okay. I was thinking this was for migration.
Why can't I turn off the analytical store? It's off. But then when I try to create this, it's like, I can't. It's telling me I can't. It can't be.
Oh no.
What's going on here?
So one option to throw out if there's like some like account figuring out stuff to do, we're at an hour and 15 minutes. So if you do, wherever is a good time you want to wrap and like we can finish some of this offline, we can do that too.
Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll come back and like pick up where we left off. But
okay, I'm actually excited. Like this is, I mean, I know it's messing around with account migration, which is, like you said, not super exciting and fun, but it's like, we're going to go live soon. It's going to happen.
I know. I just feel like we should just do this off stream and then just like go live. Like there's nothing pretty about this.
I mean, I think once the data is kind of migrated, we can like roll through, maybe show here's some code we wrote and, kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I have not had time to do any of this, man. VS Code Day, y'all, is next week. It's next.
Oh my goodness! It's a week from. Is it? It's the 24th.
Yeah, it's next Wednesday. So I've been getting the keynote ready for that, and then when I come back, so that's next week. We can't stream next Friday, maybe the following Friday, but it'll slow down this. So we got to get past build, man.
Yeah, I'm going before build. I'm leaving. Beginning of May, I'm leaving. I'm going to Techorama, Belgium, and DevSum, Sweden.
Wow.
So that'll be neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So you're gone, that's May?
Yeah, I'm gone like May, basically like 4th through 18th.
I feel like this is such a distraction from the point of the stream. Like we should just fix this.
We'll figure out the migration and then we can just be like, hey, we're going live. Here's how we did it, kind of thing.
Right. And then move on with more interesting stuff that isn't us just like cleaning up mess.
But I mean, it is real world stuff. It's like,
I know. I just feel like it's the thing is, it's like reality TV. If they actually showed you reality, it would be extremely boring. So they don't. Right. They just show you all the drama parts. Right. Yeah. And so what this is just like essentially the boring parts of reality television. No one wants to watch. Like someone eating breakfast.
Maybe if it's a good breakfast. All right. Well, wonderful. I am going to have a great weekend. You're going to have a great weekend.
Yes.
Great success.
Jack's going to have a great weekend.
Yes. Great weekends all around. Okay. I'm going to play the music.
We're out. See ya.